truth regarding Mus'haf Fatima. We've heard from Wahhabi preachers that it's another Quran that we, the Shia, believe in. Once again, isn't it utterly pathetic that we would have to prove our innocence and demonstrate that we, the Shia, don't have another Quran that we recite and that we take as our primary scripture? Of course, this accusation was carefully crafted to perpetuate the Nasibi trope, the Wahhabi accusations that the Shia aren't even Muslims because they believe in something called Mus'haf Fatima alayhi salam. Now, going back to what Mus'haf Fatima is, first of all, our response to people that bring this up is maybe you should try and acquaint yourself with the Arabic language before you open your mouth. Because the word Mus'haf it's not a word that's exclusively referring to the Holy Quran. Mus'haf, just open any dictionary and you'll know, it means a binded book. So any amount of sheets of paper, once they're binded, they can then be referred to as Mus'haf. In fact, the Imams of the Ahlulbayt have repeatedly said, وَوَاللَّهِ, this is the hadith of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in the blessed book of Al-Kafi. وَوَاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِقُرْآنٍ. This is not the Quran. This is different from the Quran. Another hadith, the Imam tells one of his companions, لَيْسَ فِيهِ مِنْ قُرْآنِكُمْ هَذَا شَيْءٍ. There is not a single verse of the Quran in this book. Meaning that it's a book that's distinct from the Holy Quran. Another hadith, the Imam says, لَيْسَ فِيهِ مِنَ الْحَلَالِ وَالْحَرَامِ شَيْءٍ. It's also not a book that contains religious rulings. So, all these lies, as I said, are designed to produce maximum damage. However, they do refer to one hadith in which the Imam alayhi salam says, إِنَّهُ ثَلَاثُ مَرَّاتٍ كَقُرْآنِكُمْ هَذَا. I'm paraphrasing. The Imam essentially says that the size of Mus'haf Fatima is like 3 copies of the Quran. Now these Wahhabis have used this hadith to say, see, they believe that this is another Quran, but it's an expanded version of it. Whereas what they deliberately try not to understand, what they refuse to understand, is that the Imam is making a comparison in size. Why? Because prior to the Quran, these Bedouin Arabs had no other books. They didn't have a single book. The Quran was the first book to be compiled in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after the Holy Prophet, the very first book to be compiled was Mus'haf Fatima. How is Imam al-Sadiq supposed to describe this book to someone, in particular the size of the book, other than to say that it's 3 times as big and as voluminous as your Quran? Now, so we've said that this Mus'haf is not the Quran. This book is not the Quran. What is the Mus'haf of Fatima alayhi salam? Many traditions explain. One hadith, once again in the blessed book of Al-Kafi, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says that after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa passed from this world, Fatimah az-Zahra was deeply upset. She was depressed for obvious reasons. And so God sent Jibreel to console Fatimah. فَكَانَ يُحْسِنُ عَزَاءَهَا. He would offer her condolences in a manner that would calm her down and soothe her heart that was aching for the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa وَكَانَ يُخْبِرُهَا. The things that Jibreel would dictate to Fatimah az-Zahra was that he would tell her مَا يَكُونُ مِنْ أَمْرِ ذُرِّيَّتِهَا وَأَيْنَ هُوَ أَبُوهَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. He would tell her, in other words, about matters of the world of the unseen. Jibreel would tell her where the Prophet is, meaning he would describe paradise. he would tell her about what goes on in the afterlife, and he would tell her about what is going to happen in the future. Meaning that Mus'haf Fatima essentially is a book that speaks about events that are yet to come. It's a book that foretells the future. That's what it is. Jibreel would dictate, Fatima would receive, Ali would be the scribe. He was the one who wrote it all down. In fact, we have narrations from the Imams of the Ahlulbayt that Mus'haf Fatima is a sign of Imamah. And there were cases where individuals would claim to be Imams, and the actual Imams of the Ahlulbayt, the legitimate Imams, would tell their followers to go and ask that person to present them a copy of Mus'haf Fatima. In other words, it's proof of an individual's claim to Imamah. If you claim to be the Imam, then show us Mus'haf Fatima. Why? Because what is in Mus'haf Fatima tells the future. In another hadith, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam tells one of his companions, Hammad ibn Uthman, he says to him that in the year 128, satadharu zanadiqah, the atheist will emerge. This was about 6 years prior to the emergence of Abd al-Karim ibn Abi al-Awja, al-Daysani, and others. And these were prominent atheists. Imam al-Sadiq foretold the emergence of these atheists. And then he said, وَإِنِّي قَرَأْتُ ذَلِكَ فِي مُصْحَفِ فَاطِمَةَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. I have acquired this knowledge of the future from Mus'haf Fatima. I hope that answers the question.